Hey, hey, we're live, baby. There we go. Final countdown, final hours of the Build and Paint Challenge for this fully converted Ad Mech army. So, good. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a good night's sleep and a good rest as best you can in this heat in the UK we've got at the moment. I just collapsed. It's actually quite hard work. More mentally hard work doing this than physical. But yeah, I just collapsed it all last night. So as I said yesterday, I ended the stream a couple of minutes early so I could get these bad boys undercoated, and they are now. They're all undercoated grey, and we're going to get some paint on them. But first things first, I just want to show you, if you were with me yesterday on day 2, part 1 of the build, I showed you a bag of random MDF parts. Well, as I said, that is the prototype to the Ridgeback Hauler 6 model kit that I'm currently developing with my good friend Andrew over at Full Colour Fantasy. Here we go so far. So this is by no means the finished kit. This just gave me, I can work in 3D generally, but what this gave me was an opportunity to piece it together and obviously see that obviously I need to put some kind of detail in here because that's a bit of a void. I need to work out the something better on the tow hitch. So now we have a tow hitch. So for one part can be the same part can be used and will hitch on, and then this whole body, this cab comes off and then become a trailer as well. The cool thing is you've got the wheels going that way, but you can also do it so the cab can go that way as well. So more to come on that. Here's the big old chunky wheels. Quite pleased with these, considering they're made of MDF. Quite nicely detailed, I thought. So anyway, so that's what that bag of MDF parts were last night. No, yesterday. It was some point. It's all blending into one. It's all getting a bit confusing. It's all blending into one. Anyway, so let's put that to one side and let's get on with some painting on these guys. So all undercoated grey, and we're just going to start off. We're just going to block in some colours on these models. So grey is going to be the main armour colour with accents of white, black, and red, and then obviously there's going to be silver and gold for the cybernetics and that kind of thing. I've got the window shut today. It's not as muggy and hot at the moment. It's hot, but it's not as muggy, so the airflow isn't as necessary, but I'm sure it will get warmer than that later. So to start off, a bit of red gore, water it down a little, and I'm just going to go around and start picking out some details here. Don't have to be too exacting with this because this is literally just the base colours being blocked in. I'm going to block in all the base colours, and then everything will get a wash, and then I'll use that and I'll work up from that then with highlighting and that kind of thing. So definitely do the shoulder pads in a nice red. So we're starting off with I've got red gore here as the red of choice. What else should we do? Red. Let's do that part of the bonnet red in there. I think anything that's got like a bit of a border should be red. So that's not that off as well. As I say, I'm not caring too much about going over the borders and stuff. Really not that bothered at the moment. This is just getting the basics on. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, no, that vehicle was pretty good. I was quite pleased with that, the way it came out. I think the shoulder pads should be red as well. So we'll get those blocked in as well. So as I hopefully you all had a good evening after I left you last night. As I say, I just fell onto the sofa because it was horrible, muggy, and I was absolutely cream crackered. So, and I've not done much this morning either. I kind of just chilled out a bit this morning. I was asked if I wanted to go out for a couple of hours this morning, but couldn't guarantee that I'll be back in time for the stream. So that was fine. Not a problem. was only to go to a DIY store, pick out some wallpaper. That's fine. I don't need to pick it out. I'll just be the one putting it on the wall. I don't need to pick it out. Not a problem with that. So yeah, let's get that on there as well. Get all the red done and on. Try and get some solid. I mean, I'm going in. I'm thinning my paints because you should always thin your paints. You know, 2 thin coats and all that. I say, and not worried about really bothered. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to avoid getting the red and then anywhere I don't want the red. But if I do, I'm not going to panic about that in the slightest. That'll all be cleaned up in the sort of highlighting and shading sides of things. So that's the red on there. What I am going to do is I'm going to put on a little bit of this is a little army painting trick for if you're painting an army for a tournament and you're running out of time, but you still want your army to get noticed in the competitions. A little tip is just to put very small amounts of freehand detail on, and you'd be surprised that it catches the judge's eyes and does help. So I'm just going to block in some sort of stripes and some markings on the model, and that will help us make it look. It'll make it look like I spent more effort on the model than I actually have. Again, we don't have to be super tidy with it because it's all going to get tidied up when we highlight and that kind of thing. Yesterday we were talking about Star Trek. Well, I was talking about Star Trek. You were listening to me about Star Trek. I've just sorted myself out a Paramount Plus UK 7-day trial. So that was pretty sweet. So this afternoon, whilst I'm off doing this, I will be accompanied by Star Trek Discovery, which is cool. I'll get a chance to have a look at that. I'm going to say glad it's come to the UK now, because we had Discovery, we had Picard, neither of which were particularly good. Picard season 2 was far better than season 1. It could have been condensed. It didn't need to be 10 episodes. It could have been 4 or 5. There's a lot of filler on that, but you know, they tried to retcon some of the silliness that happened in season 1. They still haven't retconned the fact that he's now a robot, though, which is a little bit silly. Which they could have done. You know, Q was in it. He could have easily have clicked his fingers and not made Picard a robot anymore. But you know, it is what it is. I didn't really see the point in making him a robot. I really didn't get that. You know, it's not to make sure that he's you know, because he's a. Or is it, where old is he in Star Trek? He's meant to be like 90 odd, is he? 90 odd, 100 odd in Star Trek. And that's fine, you know. Humans live to about 130, 140 odd in Star Trek. So, you know, why not? Why can't he? That's what I mean by adding some freehand just on the little chest piece there. Just a couple of lines. And you'd be surprised at how much that'll make the figure pop. When it's all done, just the tiniest bit of freehand, you'd be very, very surprised. When you're coming to, when judges are looking at your work for painting competitions and stuff, yeah, you'd be incredibly surprised. So that's kind of the look we're going to go for on him. So just accenting a few bits in red. I've got some contrast black here, and I've got some Iron Hand steel. They're going to be the other main colours, but I'm going to block in the rest of the red now on all the figures. I'm going to go with colour by colour. As I say, the plan is get all the base colours on these, then I can chuck a wash on them, and then I can finish off this guy, building him. I can finish off building this guy, the HQ, get these undercoated as well, and then we can move on to painting them as well. So, and also, I found with, excuse me, if I'm burping, I do apologise. I have just had something to eat, and I kind of rushed it a little bit. So my fault. But if we get all the block colours on and then just get the washes on these done, they're good for tabletop. You can go to a tournament, no problem with that. You know, the army would look good. You get away with them, and the washes do hide a multitude of sins. I don't use the Games Workshop washes. I use the army painted ones. So I use dark tone, strong tone, and flash tone, and I've got the red as well. So I tend to use those for washing. I just think you've got a bit more control with them. They're a bit thicker than the Games Workshop washes, and you have a bit more working time with them. They don't dry as quickly, which is a blessing and a curse. Especially a bit of a curse if you're painting in up to a deadline. You know, sometimes you want them to dry faster, but it's so hot today, I don't think that's really going to matter much. But as I say, they give you a little bit longer working time. Not going to be using oil washes on these guys. I really wouldn't use oil washes if I'm speed painting an army. Again, they take too long to dry, and there's too many steps involved. You know, you have to get the base colours on, kind of highlight them a little bit, then varnish them to protect the paint you've already done, then do the oil wash, then wipe away the oil wash where you don't want it, then varnish away again to set the oils. You know, it's a bit of a faff, whereas just doing it this way, still sort of traditional painting techniques of base colour, shade, and highlight. And that's kind of the plan, really. I think robes will do with red as well. So like the on these Terminator guys, their hats are going to be red, and I think the loin cloths will be red, and I'll do some iron possibly in the tabard. I'll do that metallic, like a chainmail. I think that'll look quite smart. So yeah, yes. I hope you guys are okay. I hope you're enjoying this. You know, it's nice to have you guys here watching me following along do this. It actually helps with the motivation, to be honest, knowing that there's people actually watching you get on with it. Does help. I remember painting a Golden Demon entry. Oh, how long ago was that now? 16 years ago? No. Yeah, 2006. 16 years ago. And I remember painting it in 4 hours, and I actually did it in a Games Workshop. I actually sat down at their painting tables, one games night. So there was about 20 odd people there, and actually just banged out my Golden Demon entry because I had people watching me, and it kind of gave me that impetus to get going. And kind of worked because I won silver, which was nice. So, you know, all's well that ends well. And that's with my little grot tank. You can probably Google it. Golden Demon 20,000 is it? 2006 vehicle category grot tank. And if you find that, it's a little grot tank. It's a little the little tank pilot's got a fez. That was mine. That was way back at 16 years ago. So yeah, good times, and I've been living off that success for 16 years. Yeah, dear. I think I'd struggle nowadays to even get to grand finalist. You know, the painting standard of some people has really come on, and you know, I can do it. I can do proper, beautiful, one-off paint schemes, and I can do it. Just drives me mental. I can't sit there and spend like 4 hours on a pair of trousers. I just can't do it. My brain tells me screams at me, tells me to stop. Because yeah, so you know, I guess if I wanted to enter and win, I could probably do it. But I think I'm long past doing it now. just the desire to want to do it is long gone. That kind of competition painting. I don't mind getting something for an army at a tournament. You know, I quite like even if I just place. You know, even if I get like to the final, I don't care if I don't win, because usually I've only spent about 8 hours on the army. So to get a painting nomination for something you've only spent 8 hours on, it's it's pretty good actually. It's pretty strong. It's a good feeling, and annoys a lot of people who've spent hours on their armies as well. So that's the red on the Skitarii guys. Moved on to one of the Terminators now. Again, just blocking all the red in with the red gore. Not being super careful if I hit anything else, because that can all be done in the cleanup, especially the tubes and the pipes. They're all going to get painted in silver anyway. Just whizzing around there. Looks good. Yep, that's that. And then a bit around here as well, part of his hood. Lovely jubbly. And then we'll go around the tabard. Do the outside rim. Again, not bothered if I hit the scales on the inside. Because I'll take more time on that when I do the silver. And also silver will go over red better than red going over silver. Due to pigmentation and that kind of thing. Inner rim with that shoulder pad on this shoulder pad would be nice, and then possibly inside of here as well. Don't know, if I start going inside of there, I've got to start going inside of everything, and that's taking it a bit too far. I'm going to make the big shoulder pad black as well, I think, just as just grime it down a little bit, just darken it down a bit. You know, I think a big black studded shoulder pad just lends an air of cynicism. I can't know. My brain's gone. It's got a sinister feel. That's what I'm looking for. So again, just going in. Don't care about the detail that's in that shoulder pad. That'll all get covered over when I go into it. Go back into it with the silver. So just filling that shoulder pad up. So, oh yeah, we've got to do the arm as well on the side, a little side arm. I'll put on the little creepy, not quite vestigial, but additional arms that I put on these guys, just to take away that human silhouette, really. You know, I wanted to, obviously they are or were humans at some point, but I think like the extra arms and stuff just kind of give it that insectoid look, to take away the humanity of the piece, because you know they kind of would be. They've hacked off the silly bits of their bodies that they don't think they need, and replaced them with bionics, and that's what the Admech are all about. They're all about that, hacking bits off and improving them, and the flesh is weak and all that malarkey. And I think these guys kind of give you that. They've got the humanoid silhouette, but you know, with the gun arm and the little arm around the side there as well, kind of just gives them that kind of creepy vibe, a bit like Maximilian from the Black Hole. You know, at the end when he's like standing on, when they go through the black hole, and it's all, you've got that weird trippy moment. And there's like Maximilian, he's up on the cliff with all his arms out. Just gives you that. That's quite a creepy visual, and that's kind of what I'm going with on these. And I guess it's the dark red. Actually, that's probably where whoever came up with dark red. I mean, I know Mars and all that dark red, you know, blah 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 blah. But I'm wondering if the color scheme for Maximilian and Reinhardt in the Black Hole I wonder, and the sentry robots. I'm wondering if that was a subconscious decision. Really, when I say I'm assuming that it's basically they come from Mars and Mars is red, kind of. That was really all the thought that went into it. But I like to think that perhaps because that was all about replacing humans, like the weird crew guys. They were all like lobotomized humans and stuff like that. Basically, servitors, which is what the Imperium does with servitors. So yeah, I like to think that's interesting. Something else I found out interesting the other day. Obviously, so talking about the black hole film. Sorry, I'm just going to take a sip of tea. Oh, lovely. Nom, 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 nom. Yeah, so the actor who plays Reinhardt in the Black Hole film, a very famous German actor called Maximilian Schell, SCHE double L or one L, Maximilian Schell. So that's the actor's name. Now at the end of the Black Hole, where you got that creepy bit where Maximilian's standing up on the mountain in his kind of like Jesus pose, and it sort of goes for an extreme close up of him, and inside you see the character Reinhardt is inside. He's encased in Maximilian, which makes Maximilian a Maximilian Schell. Yeah, good, that it. I thought that was great. I hadn't really thought about that until I saw it, and it was like a YouTube retrospective video about the black hole. And I was kind of like, never really thought of that. So that's quite clever for someone at Disney. Again, I don't know whether that's weirdly coincidental or someone actually thought of that. I like to think someone did think about that and snuck it past the producers. I like to think that's a cool thing somebody has done. But yeah, creepy movie, The Black Hole. For a Disney movie, proper creepy. Really. I mean, I know they were trying to capitalize on Star Wars at the time. I mean, they own Star Wars now. That's fine. And I know they were trying to capitalize on it, but my God, did they go completely the other way with that? I mean, the bit where Anthony Perkins gets his innards churned out by Maximilian. The bit where Kate is on the little thing, and she's going to be sort of robotized, lobotomized. The actual lobotomized crew, not good things for children. I guess I remember being really freaked out as a kid. And the music, my God, the music. My God, the music's amazing. I think that was James Horner. I'll have to double check, or perhaps somebody else can put it in the chat. But the music to the Black Hole is properly creepy. So yeah, I think Black Hole. If you don't remember it, I suggest grabbing a copy or seeing if it's on. It's probably on Disney Plus because it's a Disney film. I'll DVD of it. Excuse me, I'm just checking my phone because it has beeped. And who's that? Oh, right, that's fine. Been getting a lot of spammy comments on my live streams as well, and they're coming up on my phone. So I'll be clearing them out the best I can after each live stream. But yeah, loads of spammy comments. I'm not sure of the language. Looks Eastern European. Yeah. So I've been dealing with them. If you do see them, I'm not sure if you can report them or get rid of them. I know I can. So I have been doing that because don't know if it's a thing. If live streams attract certain spam bots, but it's been the same comment from about 3 or 4 different people, and it's like it looks like gobbledygook to me. It probably isn't. It's probably Well, it actually looks a bit Asian and Eastern European in the same comment. It's very strange. But yeah, so I've been getting rid of them and reporting them and hiding blocking them from my feeds where I can. James says, made it back in time to catch the end of the first session. Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks, James. Yeah, you are here. Good man. Thank you very much. Yeah, you've got plenty of time. We've got another 35 minutes to go yet. Just as an update, we've done 26 and a half minutes of the last 8 hours. So you're absolutely fine. We're back again at 9, guys, for the final hour. And we'll see how we get on and see if we've actually got a playable army, points values and that kind of thing. So yeah, that'll be at 9 o'clock. Please join me if you can. Just something different to usher in the new working week, as it were. So a bit more red on the final guy now, and then we'll move on to the whites, I think. And we'll do the. I don't know if you can't quite see the. I'll look off the sun. There you go. You can see. There you go. You can see. We'll put like some markings on them as well. The stripe. I'll say you put a little bit of freehand onto a model, and it just lifts it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be like Latin scripture or anything like that. Just a freehand line or a number or even a letter really, really lifts your models. Takes them just one piece, one step apart from everyone else's. And if you're in a tournament competition and you're trying to win best painted, you need that. You need that kind of lift. You need that USP. Especially if you like me and you probably painted the army the night before. Yet you're still arrogant enough to think that you can get a best painted nomination. I mean, I'm happy to get nominations. I don't necessarily have to win. Some people win who I don't think should win sometimes because they've taken that, just add a little bit to lift your army a bit too far, and it kind of actually overtakes the whole paint job you've done. So but there's a lot of low effort tricks and tips you can do to make your armies stand out on the tabletop. I mean, obviously, contrasting colours is one thing. White and red, bang. White on anything, really. Any sort of mid to dark tone is good. Put a bit of, with this red. If I do the odd green eye lens, green and red, perfect. There's a lot of things you can do to make your armies. Excuse me, leap off the table a bit more and catch judges' eyes. Yeah, so that's just little tips for you there if you're painting an army up for a competition, not a competition, like for a tournament, and you think you stand a chance of winning a best painted. Just a little bit of freehand goes a very long way. And like I say, it doesn't have to be a rendition of the Mona Lisa or or Latin scripture written all over everything. Just the odd line, the odd number, the odd symbol. That's fine. James, it bugs me when someone gets best painted army for an army they paid someone else to paint. Yeah. I mean, in that respect, I mean, A, they shouldn't enter it into that category, and B, if someone's approached them and said, "Oh, your army's great, we're going to put it into best painted," that's when they should turn and go, "Well, I didn't paint it." And then I think at that point, the judges should go, "Okay, it's still a cool painted army, though. I think people should see it, and it should get a mention. Tell me who painted it. We'll get and we'll mention them, or we'll give them props, or a special mention." Yeah, but you're right. I think if someone hasn't painted their army and they get nommed for a painting nomination. That's a little bit naughty, I think. I think you're right there, James. I'm not a big fan of that. I've also seen painting competitions where, you know, I've painted a model. It's, you know, it's probably better than the one that actually won the competition. And I've got nowhere because the person who won is friends with the person running the competition. You know, that's happened more times than I care to sit and work out that stuff like that's happened. It's a little bit naughty. There's a little, you know, that, you know, and I know, you know, you can tell the friends because sometimes they're probably wearing a team shirt or a team, you know, a team uniform. So that's a little bit naughty as well. But you know, that's down to the people who are running the event. No, it's down to the person whose army it is. Yeah. You can't change some people. Those are people are people. You're not gonna change them, you know. But they're the guys. They're the people who have to live themselves. And then, more often than not, these things come out in the wash at the end of the day anyway. Because the guy who painted it will say, especially if it's on not Facebook or something like that, someone will go, "Hey, hang on a minute, I painted that, not him. Where's my prize?" Or they'll contact someone. So it does all come out in the wash, that kind of stuff, in the end. Eventually. So you're getting the red on there. I might actually switch to the black because it's probably I use a lot more black on these than they are on the other guys, and these guys are more in, you know, they're with me on the production line, on the production side of it. So you've got might as well take advantage of physical attributes as well when you're painting. So we'll give that shoulder pad I'm using black Templar here. That's the contrast paint. Only because I know it dries super quick. You know, it probably won't do any good as a contrast paint. It's a smooth surface. It's not really going to pick up any detail and shading. And also it dries a lot quicker than the Army Painter one. I do use the Army Painter speed paints. I picked up the starter set, and they're okay. You know, they have their moments. The flesh is good. So yeah, so this is the contrast just going on there, like so. And it will do its contrast thing. It will do its shrinky thing, and it will pull away from the edges a bit. Which, you know, if I'm going to chuck some highlights on the black, which I rarely do. I rarely highlight black because I just don't see the point. Black naturally highlights itself. So yeah, I rarely do that. James, totally agree. I'm completely okay with pro painting models getting recognition, but the person who did the painting should get the credit. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I've painted armies for people. I've painted one recently, another converted and painted army for mini wargaming. And they said they're going to give me a credit. That's fine. I mean, they paid me as well. That was nice. But they said they're going to credit me as well, so that'd be lovely. Yeah. James, you haven't tried it, but a few people said they like them better than the contrast. But they're slightly different to the contrast paints. Well, they're cheaper for a start. But here's the set I got. I got the basic starter set, and it doesn't even come with a black, so that's why I'm using contrast. But they're about half the price of contrast for a one thing. And they all come with. Well, I'll shake it up. If you can hear that, they all come with mixers inside as well, so that's a really good thing. But they work slightly different to contrast. I don't think they kind of like the kind of contrast. I mean, I don't really use contrast paints for what contrast paints are meant to be used for anyway, because I can paint for want of a better to make. I know it makes me sound a little bit arrogant. Oh, I can paint. I don't need contrast paints. I'm using one here. That's not the point. They're good for, they make really good glazes, contrast paints, actually. Really good glazes. You get a bit of flow improver on them. They're very good for glazing. And what they're also good for is setting out. Giving you a guide, especially if you've got an older model where the detail isn't as crisp. Contrast paints and speed paints are really good for slapping all over, and then when they dry and they do their slightly shrinky thing, it shows you the detail that needs to be, the highlights and stuff where they need to be painted. So they're good for that. The speed paints, some of them don't dry completely, or they reactivate with water. Some of them, which is a little, I don't think that's a planned side effect, but I think a bit like Cocoa Pops, they're trying to lead into it now and say, oh, no, that's supposed to be. And it does work out well, because what you can do is you can wet blend with them. So if you're using the speed paints and they reactivate when you try and highlight over top of them, so they reactivate with water, it allows you to wet blend, which is rather quite nice. It's quite a nice little side effect, actually. I found it very useful on actually the Mini Wargaming Commission. There's a lot of flesh in the army because it was like a big butcher cult, and there was lots of ogre-sized models in there, and ogre-sized models, and it allowed me to really do a quick but nice flesh, because I was able to, I think I undercoated Army Partner Bone Spray, and then Army Partner Bone Spray, and then I used the flesh colour, which is Crusader Skin, slap that all over them, let it dry, and obviously you get this quite contrasty. It's like dark in the recesses, quite light in on the raised area, so you need to obviously do blend in the paint in the mid-tone, and then when I went in with like a mid-flesh, it kind of just blended in with the highlight, and yeah, I was amazed, able to get a very nice flesh tone quite quickly. But obviously flesh can be pretty tricky sometimes, especially human flesh, because sometimes look a bit too tan if you want, or a bit orangey, which is fine if you want orange flesh. Then go for it. But yeah, that's so they have their uses. Actually, airbrushing contrast paints is when they kind of level up. That's when, because you can get like a really nice even coat, and then obviously they do their shrinky paint thing, and it's quite good because they do that from an even coat, so you don't get the brush swirls and the brush marks inside. If you're using them on a ground coat, you're not doing it as intended anyway. Well, no, technically I am, because the Games Workshop undercoats for contrast are Raveseer, which is a bone colour, and some grey. So they do work on other spray paints, and this is an auto. My undercoat is an auto spray anyway. It's high coat. It's an auto primer, so it's slightly satin anyway. I quite like a satin. Matte I find is a bit, your paints don't flow as well on a matte, and obviously on the gloss they flow too well. So I always go with a bit of a satin undercoat anyway, and a satin varnish as well. I just like the look of it. It's a personal choice, really. Oh, I'm just drinking my tea, guys. Just trying to stay a bit hydrated, because the first day I felt awful the next day because I hadn't drunk enough. Because I got my head down and got on with it. So that's quite cool. The black on the red. Looks quite schmat. Again, we can do maybe a little bit of freehand on those shoulder pads. Maybe not. We'll see. We shall see. But I'll do some on the Scutari now. I'm going to go with and you'll see I use the wide range of paints. So I've got Army Paint now. I've got Warlord Games. That's a really good white, actually. Although it pains me to say it because they sacked me recently. Well, they let me go due to internal restructuring. But I use, that's a really good white. I use Citadel, use Army Painter. I've got P3 inks for making washes and glazes. So I use Vallejo for metallics. I mean, I know I'm using, what is it, this Iron Hands one, Citadel, but that's only because I've got a couple of pots of it, because I was subscribed to the Hatchet Partworks Imperium thing. So that's the only reason I'm using it. But usually I go with Vallejo for metallics as well. The Vallejo has some very, very good metallics. I've heard Scale 75 are brilliant for metallics, but I've yet to try them. So I cannot comment, but I've heard good things about them. And again, I'm not one of those guys that replaces all his paints when a new paint range comes out. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you're going to get Duncan's paint range, Duncan Rhodes. And I was like, no, maybe. Probably not, though. I'm not going to replace hundreds of pounds worth of paint straight off the bat, because, again, it's cost me hundreds of quid. It cost me hundreds of pounds to in paint. I mean, I've got my little rotisserie over here. That thing. That's my main palette of paints that I use pretty much on everything. And then over there's my other paint rack. So quite a bit of paint, really. I'm not going to go out and replace that all at once, because that's madness. That would be utter madness. And now I can't position the camera properly. Oh, I shouldn't have moved it. What an idiot. Excuse me, sorry. This will probably make you feel sick. Ah, that's better. Ah, there we go. Cool. You staying? Yes, you're staying. Cool. By the way, that rotisserie one, that's a spice rack from Poundland. Cost me £3. I know, ironic, isn't it? Get something from Poundland, it doesn't cost a pound. So yeah, and originally I did originally buy it as a spice rack, but realised I only had about 7 or 8 spices, and I looked a little bit lost at it, so I used it for a paint rotisserie instead. And yeah, it works quite nicely actually. And as I say, that's generally the palette of paints that I use pretty much on a daily basis. And all my specialist paints, it's all my contrasts, my washes, my glazes, my technical paints like my Riser Rust and my Lilac Oxide, they're all on there as well. So the top is specialist paints, that kind of thing, metallics and dropper bottles because they're big, and then the bottom is just standard paints. If you're interested, Ah, we have another James. Hello, mate. I thought you were going out with Mum. Are you back now? Yeah, so again, just boshing on some very basic freehand. On these, it'll all get cleaned up as well. So don't worry about that. That's why you do. That's why I try That's why I try and do the freehand now when I'm doing the base coats, because if there is any tidied up you need to do it now. Then and once you've washed it, because once you've washed it, it's very difficult to match the colour that it was. If you get my meaning, you get my drift. So that's why we do it. Now then, where else should we put a little bit of freehand? Shall we? I see what I mean with the contrast black. It's dry already. Contrast black, I mean, it dries super quickly. I'm not using a wet palette, as you can see. I'm just using a little Games Workshop palette. Again, no real reason why I don't use a wet palette. I just haven't really gone over to using one. I need to put a bit of something on this guy. Perhaps we'll do something up here, which we'll do. Actually, what we could do, we'll do that around here. We just do a band on the top. So yeah, we'll just do a little band around the top there. Just a quick one. Personal message to my son, who is King of Azure Lane in the chat. I've got a free trial for Paramount Plus, mate, which has got the Halo TV show on it. If you're interested, I'll give you the login later. When I come around later, I'll give you the login for it. Although you might not, because I've only got a 7-day trial. Oh yeah, it should last till next Saturday. So it will last till next Saturday, and you might be able, so you might be able to watch the Halo thing. And as I have several email addresses, I can get several 7-day trials. So yeah, cool. What's the other James? James, oh, you have the army painter wet palette. Yeah, my God. When I used to work for Warlord, getting those things in stock was a nightmare. They were constantly out of stock. I've heard very good things about it. Very good things about the army painter wet palette. So and obviously the sales data backs that up. So I'm gonna do a little checker pattern around the top of this guy just to see if it'll work out. So started off with just a band, little cog tooth. So I started off with just a band running around. I'm going to place a cog tooth at either end and at the midpoint, and then I'll go in with some other cogs and space them out evenly, which would be cool in the hood. So let's go in that. Again, freehand in white onto black. It's pretty straightforward, actually. Easy to tidy up. Just make a bit of a mistake. Out there, it's not even. I'll need to open up that cog. That bit there. That is not what I know. You can't really see it. Sorry, you can't yet. So I'll just go back in there with black. Tidy that up, neaten that up a bit. I mean, other cheats as well is you can use those little acrylic paint pens. I've seen people use them nowadays. I've tried. I can't get on with them a little bit. I use black fine liner pens for black lining, and I have done for years. Because that, if you're lining around a border or inside like a panel line on a Space Marine or something like that. So that works. You can do that. That looks really good. But the actual paint pens are quite tricksy to use. What I found. But then again, I've got terrible handwriting, so that's probably why. Right, now I'm going to do some touching up on the black. I actually need some non-contrast black because I don't think the contrast paint will work for touching up. So I've got me some Abaddon black. And I'll just tidy it up now. There we go. Tidy that up. That's good. And then I'll probably go in with a second coat of white. Just to give it a bit more depth. And then any other rough edges will be covered up when I wash it. But I'm not sure if you can see that. That's just a little basic cog pattern around the top of this pad there, which is cool. So that's very good. So I need to tidy that up. But what I can do now, we know I've got the red and the black on. I'm actually going to bung these. I'm going to bung a wash on these now. And I know a lot of people are thinking, why are you doing your wash now? It's far too early. You haven't blocked it hardly any of the colours. You're absolutely right. I haven't. But again, what it will do, it will give me some depth to the metallics, because when you're putting like silver and metallic over lighter colours like grey or anything like that, you don't really see them come out. So metallics go better over darker colours. But I still want to see, I still need to know where to put that, those darker colours. So I'm going to give them a wash now with some dark tone. I'm going to use an army painter brush. I've actually got an army painter brush here, the monster brush. Like so. I'm going to give it a bit of moisture to the bristles. Coat these in a lovely wash. That'll dry off quite nicely because it is warm today, very warm today. So that will dry off really quickly. And while that's drying off, I can carry on finishing off the actual models that need building, and do some bases. And then I can go back in and get these guys painted. And then whilst I'm painting them, the other guys can drive an undercoat. And it's a bit of a process. It's a bit of a, it's a back and forth. But this way gives me more of an idea of what I need to do and how I need to do it. Do I need to do that? No, I need to tidy up the grey first. Sorry. I need to tidy up the grey on where I've done the freehand. So a bit of black, a bit of white to make me up that grey. Doesn't have to be spot on, just tonally similar. Colour wise doesn't have to be exact. And that might even be a bit too light. Yeah, it's a bit too light, so a bit more grey in there. Sorry, a bit more black in there. That's better, that's better. God, I've just thought this is a bit Bob Ross, isn't it? Happy little accidents and all that. That's the stuff. That's the stuff. Just clean up those lines. Also, when you're freehanding, your paint has got to be nice and wet, so it will flow. You're not dragging it down and stuff. And we'll just clean up around there and there. Good. Let's have a look. See who else needed a bit of a clean up and a tidy up. Yeah, this line needs tidying up a little bit. So there's that one. That looks good. This one was quite messy. So I need to tidy him up a bit. Sorry, you can't see me. It's a pity, I say, you can only like a thing where when you post something, it makes a noise, like an alarm saying, "We can't see you, you're out of shot." Also, freehanding at distance is not the easiest thing on the planet to do. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, no, that's fine. So that's how we'll tie it up, so you can wash those. I just got to do the white on the cogs on their shoulder pads. Then they're ready for a wash. And then I'm gonna probably that we've got a couple of minutes to take us up to the end of the hour, and then that will and then I'll go off and I'll get these painted, get other things built, and then in a couple of hours time, 6 or 7 or so hours time, we'll see how we get on. We'll see how we get on. I will give you a review on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I've heard lots of good things about it, so I've got that to smash out today. They're hour-long episodes, so I'll be watching it for 6 hours pretty much. So on and off, because I'll probably pause it when I go to the loo and make drinks and stuff. So I'll probably get through about 5 episodes, and we'll see how we get on. As I've heard good things. It's not Star Trek Discovery, even though it's kind of in the same universe. They've tried to visually make it a bit more TOS. I mean, obviously they can't embrace fully the TOS. I mean, I know we would have loved to, and I know they did it in A Mirror Darkly in Star Trek Enterprise, but that was 20 odd years ago. Enterprise, we have moved on so much since Enterprise, and unfortunately, even though they've been remastered, and I'm sure Pete will agree with this, the old sets look a bit shit. I'm sorry, they do look old and silly. You know, the keyboards, the internal wiring and stuff, all looks like it's made of string and bits of wood, because they were made of string and bits of wood. So I'm okay with a visual update, because modern, and we've got modern techniques. We've got 3D printers. We've got cheap and quick CGI now. You know, as I said this day, as long as the writing's good and the story's good. Enjoy Star Trek. I have one episode of Stranger Things left to watch. No spoilers, please. Yeah, no, I've not watched season 4 of Stranger Things. I binned off Netflix about a month ago. I just wasn't using it, and £10 a month just to watch Stranger Things just wasn't worth it. So yeah, no, I binned off Netflix. So yeah, I'll probably watch Stranger Things at some point. You know, let's face it, a lot of kids with a psychic one trying to find a monster and end up fighting a monster. That's kind of the storyline, I guess. Obviously, there'll be some twists and turns, but that's pretty much the storyline. So I can live without that for now. But right, let's get some wash on this. So I'm going to paint a dark tone going on. I'm going to need a fair amount of it. I do like a dropper bottle, I must admit. I'm not one of those dropper bottle Nazis who gets all his paint and immediately puts them in dropper bottles, because again, that way madness lies. Why would you do that? That's just ridiculous. But I do like a dropper bottle. And the good thing about Army Painter Dark Tone is it's not 100% black. There's a little touch of brown in it. Not much, but you can see it. And that gives you it just takes it away from the black being a bit harsh and giving you the harsher lines that you would get if you went straight with a black wash. So yeah, but the good thing with the dropper bottles is obviously you don't tend to spill them as much. I have spilt several pots of paint in my career, and obviously, I like it a bit. You like it? Oh, I was going to say, what do you like a bit ropey? But you like the fact that Star Trek is a little bit ropey. Yeah, the original series is a little bit ropey. Yeah, no, it's got a charm. Don't get me wrong, it's got a charm, and that's why I like classic Trek and things like Doctor Who and Blake Seven and kind of thing. It's got a lovely charm to it. But sometimes it's just a little bit unwatchable, I find. And we've had the discussion about the remastered stuff. You think it's cultural sabotage, cultural what's the word I'm looking for? Destruction, graffiti, that kind of thing. I just think it makes you enjoy the show better, because I find that the really ropey space scenes are just unwatchable. They're just unwatchable nowadays. If anyone's watched Deep Space Nine recently, God, it's like someone's filming it through a net curtain. It really could do with a 4K resto, because it's becoming difficult to watch because you just can't make anything out. And then on HD TVs and stuff, it just looks bloody awful. But anyway, enough of that. That's a bit of a rant about the quality of TVs and stuff. But yeah, no, I like it a bit ropey as well. But if it takes me out the immersion of the series, I don't want to know. And that's what I was saying the other day about New Who. New Who tends to rely on effects to drive the story, whereas it should be the story and the character development that drives the story. So there's a bit of wash on him to show you. Like so. Anyway, look, I've just looked at the timer. I've got 10 seconds to go. So I'm going to carry on with these guys now, painting them up. I will be back at 9 p.m. tonight. So if you can join me, that will be awesome. It'd be lovely to have you. See how we get on. Let's see if I can get these guys painted and everything else done. Yeah, if you can join me, that'd be great. We'll continue this chat about sci-fi TV programs, because it's quite an interesting discussion, I think. But yeah, so you guys take it easy. I will see you in about 6 hours. I'm either going to have some painted figures, some non-painted figures, or I'm going to have committed myself to the insane asylum. But yeah, I'm going to crack on. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Hope you've got something fun planned, and I will see you later.